The Trojan Blade is presented by PrizePicks. What's up, guys? My name is Gabe, and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. This is episode 69, nice, of the viewer comment series. This series where, of course, you guys, the viewers, send in your comments and questions here on YouTube, and they do get answered live on the show. And of course, if you do have a comment or question you want featured, make sure you are subscribed to the channel and keep a lookout for every single Monday. That's when the call for questions is going to go out on my community tab here on the channel. If you're having trouble finding it, go to my channel page, click posts, and then you'll see it there. When that call for questions goes out on Monday, leave your response and I'll pick the best ones. We have a lot of interesting ones this week, so really excited to get into it. This is, of course, a game week edition. And I said it on last night's video, but I'm going to say it again. The schedule for the season, just to give you a really quick look at what's to come. So Saturday after San Jose State, we're going to have the instant reaction as soon as the game's done. You'll get my instant thoughts, good and bad. If there's any really newsy items, then a video will be out on the Sunday following whatever game we play. Monday is going to be What We Learned, the series where I give you between 5 and 8 things that we can take away from the performance after I've done a rewatch and watched the film. Tuesday, like today, is going to be viewer comments. Wednesday is going to be a Trojan update, getting you up to speed with all the latest news. Thursday is going to be the game preview. And Friday is going to be a fun sort of video. I haven't decided on a name for the series yet, but it's going to include a recap of the news from the week, a look at storylines heading into the game the next day. And yeah, it'll just be a fun sort of tied together video getting you ready for the game the following day. But yeah, having said all that, please like, subscribe, leave a comment to help out the algorithm. Now let's get into it. First up, we got Christian from the OC. He says, if we go 10-2, are we hosting a college football playoff game? And if so, who would you want to play? That'd be the likely outcome if you're 10-2. And if we could play anyone, it's really easy for me. I'm sure many of you are going to have the same one, Oklahoma. Bring the Sooners into the Coliseum. Let Lincoln Riley pummel Brent Venables for the whole world to see. The number that game would do, audience-wise, would be massive, monumental, highest viewed USC game, maybe of all time. But yeah, for sure the Sooners on that one. Next up, we got Aaron Lee from Shreveport, Louisiana. He says, how excited are you to see the offensive line starters that trot out on Saturday? I'm going to immediately pause the game so that I can see every number. I'm going to do the same thing, Aaron. Have you made any updates to your starting offensive line, or do you see a surprise starter versus San Jose State? Great question. I have made an update to my starting projections. So left to right, I got Elijah Page, Hayden Treater, Tobias Raymond, Alani Noah, and Justin Tanu'u. Really like that line. I think Hayden Treater is going to finally be able to show what myself and Tim Prangley have been talking about him for so long. Love his skill set. Love the tenacity. He can really get after it in the run game, man. That kid's a mauler. I do think we see Koleje and Pepe at some point this year, but I don't think it's early. I think that's later on in the season. The Trojan Blade is presented by PrizePicks, America's #1 sports picks app. And guys, this app is incredibly easy to use. If you want to play player picks like me, all you got to do, just pick more or less on a few player stats like you're seeing on screen here, lock in that lineup, and that's literally it. That's all you got to do. PrizePicks is also available in most states, including the Biggies, California, Texas, Florida. You can follow me on the app at The Trojan Blade. Keep up with what I'm getting myself into over there. And now there's literally never been a better time to start because PrizePicks has a brand new offer. So what you're going to do, click that link down below in the description. Sign up with code HMA. Play your first $5 or more lineup, and you're going to get $150 in lineups if you win. That's right, guys. A brand new offer. So get in there. Lock in that lineup, get that first dub, and claim that $150 in bonus lineups. And my lineup for you, the Big Ten season is right around the corner. And if there's one thing we do well on the West Coast side of things in the Big Ten, it's produce quarterbacks. So I have Washington Husky Damon Williams to have more than 21.5 passing touchdowns. Jaden Mayava to have more than 21.5 passing touchdowns as well. Nico Iamaleava to have more than 2,324.5 passing yards. And Dante Moore to have more than 24.5 passing touchdowns as well. Big shout out to PrizePicks for being the presenting partner of the Trojan Blade. Now let's get back to the video. Next up, we got Mark Cordier. I assume I'm pronouncing that right, from Polson, Montana, and a Trojan fan for 50 years. Shout out to you, Mark. He says, hi, Gabe. Will the possibility of not having Stewart healthy all year derail the chances of going to the playoffs? So if Jakeem Stewart isn't fully healthy all year, if he can contribute like how he did last year, I think that'll be enough. Obviously, this is a completely different defense if you have a full go Jakeem Stewart. He's that good, that big of a difference maker. But at the same time, we do have depth this time around. We do have guys that can fill that role. And if Jakeem can give you 10 to 15 good snaps a game on pass rushing downs, we'll just have to take that, right? That's better than nothing. We'll see how his foot progresses throughout the year. It's hard for me to see a guy with a recurring foot injury get back to 100% during the season. That's just really, really hard to fathom and think about. If you've had a foot injury, you know how impossible it is to make it go away when you live a even semi-active lifestyle. So yeah, very unfortunate. I don't think it derails the chances of going to the playoffs though. Next up, we got Michael from Seal Beach, California, the home of Tim Prangley. He says, do you think College Game Day will be coming to USC this year? And if so, what game? You know, I haven't looked at the week-by-week schedule to see what games that we are competing with. If USC Ohio State is undefeated against undefeated or undefeated against one loss or even one loss, I could see that for sure on Halloween night. But we have to keep in mind that College Game Day is an SEC you-know-what, inappropriate line I will not be saying on this channel, but that's what it is. So if they do come, that's cool. If they don't, whatever. Big Noon might, but I'll be honest, Big Noon's one of the worst shows I've ever seen. Mark Ingram and Brady Quinn, yuck and yuck. Terrible show. I'd rather watch nothing than have to watch that, to be honest. So I'm still a game day guy. I would prefer them over Big Noon, despite the SEC affiliation. That should tell you something. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see on that. Next up, we got Dylan from Riverside. Shout out to the IE. He says, will the SJSU game be an audition for certain borderline or depth players? Are you looking at any particular guys in the wide receiver room, the secondary, or any particular position group to see whether they get snaps? Great question. I feel like everyone's going to get snaps in this game because I feel like we're just going to kick the shit out of San Jose State and guys are going to get in. But in that first half, I am looking at the wide receiver room. I'm looking at guys like Zacharias Williams. I'm looking at guys like Corey Sims. How are they going to factor into this rotation? Because we know the young guys are going to get some run. We know the talent. But what about Mo Eisen and Sims and Williams? Like, these guys are going to have to really play well to stay on the field because these kids, I mean, let's just call it what it is. Caden Dixon-Wyatt, Boobie Feaster, and Trent Mosley, I think, are more talented than Zacharias Williams, then Corey Sims, then Mo Eisen. So it's going to be tough, right? But wide receiver is the room everyone wants to see, and I am right in the middle of that camp as well. There's so many options. There's so many guys in there, different skill sets. Who's going to play in the slot? Is Zacharias Williams going to be a big slot? I think he'd be fantastic there. Little catch and run, clear out in the middle of the field. He could do that job for you and then some. I'd love to see that. But yeah, for me, all eyes are going to be on the wide receiver room. That's what we really need to be honing in on. Next up, we got Joaquin from Berkeley. He says, since you do YouTube full time, can you walk us through what a typical day and week is like for you in the off season and during the season as well? I'm assuming a bunch of film, scripting, editing. Yeah. So in the off season, my life mainly just revolves around my family, making sure that everything's good with them. I'm sure many of you don't know because I'm not sure I've ever talked about it really publicly. But my sister Ava, she's 1 year younger than me. She has autism. And as I'm sure many of you know that have family or close friends or whatever, there's a lot that goes into that on a daily basis. And being there to support her and do things for her, that's always top of the priority list. So when the season rolls around, I'm still doing all of that. That's like the number one focus and priority. But I'm also working 12 to 15 hours a day, which if you're a full-time content creator, I'm sure you can relate to that as well. One day, the Trojan Blade is going to have multiple moving pieces to it with different people and jobs and all of that. And I can't wait for that day. But for right now, I do all the social media, all the editing, all the recording, all the scripting, everything. It's just me. And it takes a lot during the season to run a full-time channel and to make sure you're on top of everything and to make sure you're growing and the quality's good and that there's no mistakes. So yeah, a typical day during the season, let's just say, wake up, do all the morning stuff, take care of my dog, take care of my family, talk to my girlfriend, and then it's time for work. And yeah, work day starts for me knowing what the video is going to be, knowing what direction I want to take it, doing any necessary research. During the season, I try to rewatch the latest game at least once a day, a condensed version. It helps me really just put all those images into my head. It helps with play recall, all of that stuff. And then it's kind of just head down, going to work, posting on Instagram, posting on Twitter, replying to DMs, replying to comments on YouTube, recording for YouTube, scripting for YouTube, editing for YouTube. I do full post-production on all my audio every single time. So the time really just starts to add up after a while. And you look up and it's 9 p.m. at night and you're still going on some project and you're just like, man, I just spent an entire day working. But one day it'll 100% be worth it. I love it. I really do. I get to talk about USC football with thousands of my closest friends. It's a dream job. It really is. And it'll get easier and easier as time goes on and more people come into the fold and all of that. Because the goal at some point is for the Trojan Blade not to just be me, not just Gabe. It'd be really cool to have someone on board who talks about basketball, who talks about football, to have a co-host on a show with me, like to really build it into something powerful and cool and massive community and all of that. I would be over the moon if it turned into that, and that's what the goal is. But yeah, Joaquin, to answer your question, during the season, my life is pretty much just split down the middle. Family, girlfriend, dog over here, work over here. And that's kind of all I focus on and all I do during the season. Next up, we got Cal from South Pasadena. He says, "Hi, Gabe. Should I take the train to the game on Saturday or drive?" Well, Cal, you're asking someone from the Inland Empire whether you should take a train from South Pasadena into LA. The honest answer is I don't know. I wish I could help you. I wish I had better advice. I mean, if you can take the train, why wouldn't you, right? Driving's a bit of a hassle, especially on game day. So yeah, just take the train. If something horrible happens to you on the train, I apologize, and I also take no responsibility. Let me know what decision you end up making. Next up, we have Louis from Visalia. He says, "What is your favorite USC tradition, and what are some traditions you like from other schools?" Favorite USC tradition: victory dogs after the game, lighting the torch, UCLA sucks, kicking the lamppost. But honestly, my favorite tradition, it's not really a tradition, just something that happens all the damn time, but when you take your seats in the Coliseum and opposing fans sit near you or next to you, this happened at the Michigan game and pretty much every other game, but if fans that have never been to the Coliseum before sit near you and you see them take it all in for the first time, it immediately takes you back to that first time you walked in and you saw the grandness and the epicness and just felt the energy and the history inside of that building. And you see their eyes go wide and they're just like, whoa. This is like nothing I've ever experienced. And you see that in their face. And it's a very, very cool moment. I sat with the most incredibly nice Michigan people at the game last year. And they were just like, this place is incredible. And it's very cool to see people, especially older people, when it's their first time inside of the Coliseum, just like the wonder in their eyes. It's a very cool experience. Next up, we got Mario from Yorba Linda. He says, "Hi, Gabe. There's been a lot of criticism of the defense since Riley has been here. However, do you feel Riley does not play complementary offense to protect the defense? Would you like to see the offense run more, or do you prefer the quick strike and score as fast as you can? We have the best O-line in years with 2 great running backs. I expect the defense to be better, but realistically don't expect to see the dominant type of defense Carroll had." I agree with the last part. The defense is going to be a lot better. I don't think we're going to be dominant, though. I agree with that. As for the first part of the question, I think last year we saw a philosophy change for sure. It felt like we ran the ball more. It felt like Lincoln knew how to close those games out, keeping the ball, killing the clock, every second mattering. So I do think we saw a change last year. I really do. And I think that's only going to grow this year with the backs, with the line. And you're right, the complementary offense is a real thing. It's very important. You don't want your defense out there if they don't have to be. If you have the ball and you're in control and you are killing the clock and taking away the game from the opponent, then you're in a very good place. So do expect to see a lot more of that this year. Next up, we got Anthony from LA. He says, "Gabe, one thing that's not being talked about enough is USC had so many slow and sluggish starts last year. Do you agree coaches like Mike Ekeler and Gary Patterson can change that in the players' execution?" This is a fantastic question and a fantastic point. The start against Iowa immediately comes to mind. That was horrible. And to answer your question, yes, because I think defense, special teams sets the tone immediately. If you kick the ball off to start the game, you run down and absolutely lay out the kick returner. That gives everyone so much energy. You take the field first on defense. I'm not sure if you guys remember. I'm not sure why this specific play popped into my head. USC Notre Dame 2022 in the Coliseum, the game Caleb won the Heisman in. I believe it was the first or second defensive series. Notre Dame gave the ball to Audric Estime. Shane Lee came through and popped him in the backfield. It was a great hit. We got off the field. We got all the energy and all the momentum very early. You have to set the tone defensively from the jump. You just have to. You can't let them drive down and score like we let Iowa do to us. So if Mike Ekeler and Gary Patterson can get special teams and the linebackers and the defense as a whole ready to come out from the jump, ready to hit, ready to be intense, that changes everything. That gives the entire stadium energy. And that's a big reason why I think Mike Ekeler is the X factor no one is really talking about. Special teams has the ability to alter games. Look at Iowa every single year. Our special teams has been a net negative every year Lincoln's been here. Imagine if special teams was a neutral. We could have won in South Bend last year. Full stop. But take it a step further. What if special teams is a net positive? What if it helps us? What if we score points off of it? What if we get turnovers off of it? What if we get momentum changing plays off of it? you're possibly talking about 1 or 2 more wins, and I don't think that's an understatement. I really don't. Special teams is that important, and Lincoln Riley has neglected it for 4 years. And whether it's Chad Bowden or Jen Cohen, I don't give a shit who gave Lincoln the directive to change, but whoever did, you got it right, because we have a full-time special teams coordinator who's damn good at what he does. And if there's still a special teams problem, then it's clearly a Lincoln thing and it's just not fixable. But man, I feel like we're going to have good special teams this year. I really do. And lastly, we got Nick from Fallbrook, but he's moving to Riverside next week. Welcome to the IE, Nicholas. But he says, hey, Gabe, I have more of a personal question that I think I know the answer to. What is your favorite dog breed? My favorite breed is Labrador Retrievers. My family has only ever had lab and lab mixes. You are entitled to your own opinion. Thank you, Nick, for that. Obviously, Golden Retrievers are the best dog breed in the world. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know my dog Jackson, the Golden Retriever, named after Dory Jackson, of course, is the cutest dog of all time. It is also his birthday today, August 25th. He is turning 9 years old. Here's a picture of him on screen. Isn't he adorable? Wish Jack a happy birthday down below in the comment section. I'll make sure to show him all of your lovely comments. Man, if you're an OG of this channel back in the G Greens days, you remember... I don't remember what the context was exactly, but I showed Jackie in one of the videos. I brought him up, and that's back when the USC Oklahoma thing was really like feuding and we were really going at each other's throats. And I was being a little provocative towards the Oklahoma fans, as I used to be and still am occasionally. But man, they flooded the comment section and we're talking so much shit about Jack, saying he's a bad dog and they hope he shits in my house. There were some other really vile ones I'm not going to say, but you get the gist of it. Anyways, rant over. This was episode 69, nice, of the viewer comment series. If you did happen to enjoy it, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Trojan Update will be out tomorrow. You guys are all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on.